What if I told you the secret to escaping debt isn't earning more, but needing less? We've been sold a lie. That promotions, side hustles, and bigger paychecks will finally free us. But here's the brutal truth. Debt isn't a math problem. It's a mindset one. The same clutter that drowns your space is suffocating your bank account. You're not broke because you don't earn enough. You're broke because you've been programmed to want more subscriptions, more upgrades, more just-in-case purchases that chain you to a life of stress and never-ending payments. But what if you could hack the system? Not by budgeting harder, but by rewiring your relationship with enough? Extreme minimalism isn't about white walls and empty shelves. It's a financial rebellion, a way to turn your daily choices into a wealth-building engine. I've used 5 unorthodox rules to erase $42,000 of debt, build a 6-month emergency fund, and triple my savings rate, without a single dollar more in income. Rule number 1 alone, the 90-day identity detox, will show you why selling your car or canceling Netflix is just the surface. The real gold lies in killing the invisible clutter, the subscriptions to lifestyles you don't even enjoy, the aspirational purchases that mock you daily, and the fear of appearing poor that keeps you actually poor. This isn't frugality. This is financial alchemy. By the end of this video, you'll stop seeing minimalism as a sacrifice and start seeing it as the ultimate power move. Let's turn your biggest weakness, your spending, into your greatest weapon. You're not just buying things, you're buying identities. That gym membership you never use? It's a down payment on the fantasy of being a healthier you. The premium streaming service gathering dust? A subconscious bid to feel culturally relevant. Every dollar you spend is a vote for the person you wish you were, while the person you are drowns in guilt, clutter, and credit card statements. This isn't shopping, it's identity theft, and you're both the victim and the thief. The 90-day identity detox isn't about cutting expenses, it's about cutting delusion. For the next 3 months, you'll freeze all spending that ties to aspirational you. No more tools for hobbies you don't practice, clothes for events you don't attend, or gadgets for skills you don't cultivate. Why? Because aspirational spending isn't motivation, it's self-sabotage. Each unused item becomes a mirror reflecting your unmet goals, slowly eroding your confidence and keeping you trapped in a cycle of shame-driven consumption. Here's the twist. You don't cancel anything yet. Instead, you observe. Track every time you're tempted to buy something for a future self. Write down the story you're telling yourself. If I own this, I'll finally become. Within weeks, patterns emerge. You'll catch yourself funding phantom versions of you, the gourmet chef, the tech guru, the minimalist yogi, while your real life stays stagnant. This detox works because it's not deprivation, it's revelation. By confronting the gap between who you are and who you pretend to pay to become, you'll start spending on alignment, not illusion. The breakthrough? When you stop financing imaginary identities, 2 things happen. Your bank account grows and your self-respect skyrockets. You'll realize true confidence comes from nurturing what you already own, not renting futures you don't truly want. This rule alone could free up 23% of your income, the average wasted on aspirational clutter, money that could erase debt or build your first wealth fund. But the real profit? Finally meeting the authentic you, the one hiding under all those unpaid bills. Your biggest financial leaks don't come from daily lattes or impulse Amazon carts. They come dressed in emergency costumes. That urgent air purifier during wildfire season? The last chance sale on camping gear because someday you'll embrace the outdoors? We've all played this game, slapping the word emergency onto wants to justify draining savings or swiping credit cards. But here's the dirty secret. Most crisis spending isn't about survival, it's about soothing. You're not solving a problem. You're buying emotional band-aids for anxiety, FOMO, or the primal fear of not being prepared. The 48-hour crisis audit flips the script. When the urge to spend strikes, especially if it feels urgent, you pause. Not for minutes, but for 2 full days. During this window, you ask one question. Does this solve a problem I have or one I imagined? Track the mental gymnastics. You'll notice how quickly "I need this" morphs into "I deserve this" or "what if someday." Spoiler, someday is a financial vampire. It feeds on hypothetical futures while bleeding your present dry. But here's the radical part. If, after 48 hours, the emergency still feels legitimate, you don't just buy it. You relocate the money. Transfer the exact amount from your savings or debt repayment fund into a separate account. Suddenly, that $300 must-have gadget isn't just a purchase. It's a trade. A trade between your long-term goals and a short-term fix. 9 times out of 10, you'll cancel the transaction. Why? Because when faced with a concrete choice, this or my debt freedom, the illusion shatters. You'll realize most emergencies are just fear wearing a disguise. The result? You'll stop using your savings account as a guilt-free spending pool. Instead, every potential crisis becomes a mirror reflecting your true priorities. Over time, this rule doesn't just save money. It rewires your brain to distinguish between survival instincts and emotional hunger. And the best part? The money you don't spend becomes a quiet rebellion against a culture that profits from your panic. Every tap, swipe, and one-click purchase whispers the same seductive lie. This will make your life easier. But convenience has a hidden price tag, one that's quietly inflating your debt and shrinking your future. That time-saving meal kit, the app that auto-renews to simplify your routine. They're not just draining your wallet, they're colonizing your independence. We've confused ease with freedom, outsourcing our agency to algorithms while wondering why we feel poorer and more powerless by the day. The invisible convenience tax flips this script. For 1 month, you'll conduct a forensic audit of every expense justified by saving time or reducing effort. But here's the catch. You won't just tally the dollars. You'll calculate the hours of your life those dollars represent. If your hourly wage is $30, that $45 grocery delivery convenience fee costs you 1.5 hours of labor. Suddenly, saving time feels like a pyramid scheme. You're trading irreplaceable hours to avoid tasks that might take 20 minutes. The breakthrough comes when you reroute these savings into what I call freedom automation. Take every cent you would have spent on convenience traps and set up an automatic transfer to a high-yield savings account named after your goal. Debt-free 2025 or emergency escape pod. Watching this account grow does something radical. It turns mindless spending into measurable progress. That 10 monthly cloud storage fee you never use becomes $120/year, enough to cover a medical deductible or a car repair without credit cards. But the real magic? You'll start seeing convenience for what it truly is, a choice, not a default. When you realize subscribing to easy keeps you enslaved to debt, you'll crave the deeper convenience of financial resilience. Because true minimalism isn't about living with less. It's about reclaiming ownership of your time, labor, and life. The path to wealth isn't paved with shortcuts, but with the courage to walk the longer road. Your closets, cabinets, and cloud storage share the same dangerous mantra. There's room, so fill it. We've been conditioned to see empty space as a problem to solve, a vacuum begging for more bins, shelves, or organizing systems that cost money to store things we don't even use. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Space isn't meant to be filled, it's meant to be protected. Every square foot you clutter becomes a battleground for your focus, finances, and future. That spare room, crammed with forgotten hobby gear, it's not just storage, it's a shrine to your past selves, and maintaining it costs you rent, mental energy, and the guilt of wasted potential. The space paradox rule flips this. For 30 days, you'll treat all unused space, physical and digital, as a financial asset. Here's how. Every time you're tempted to buy storage solutions, think organizers, extra iCloud space, or even a larger apartment, you'll first purge double the volume of what you're trying to store. Can't part with enough? Then you don't need the storage. You need to confront your hoarding instinct. This isn't about tidiness, it's about leverage. Empty shelves become a negotiating tool. The less you own, the less you need to spend on rent, insurance, or solutions to manage excess. But the real power lies in the mindset shift. When you stop viewing space as a blank canvas for consumption, you start seeing it as freedom. That drawer you empty? It's not wasted. It's a daily reminder that you're no longer paying to store regret. That unused corner of your home, a visual cue that you're wealthy enough to not fill it. Over time, this rule does something radical. It turns minimalism into a wealth multiplier. The 1-200-year you save on a smaller apartment by needing less space could become an extra $12,000 in your retirement fund over a decade. The paradox? The less space you occupy, the more financial and mental room you create for what truly matters. Because debt isn't just a number, it's the weight of all the space you've filled with things that don't serve you. Protect your emptiness like a dragon guards gold, and watch your wealth rise from the void. We've all fallen for the siren song of the investment purchase, that $500 coat that'll last a lifetime, the bulk buys that save money long-term, the premium gadget that's an asset for your career. But here's the brutal math. 90% of what we call investments are just dead in disguise. Why? Because we confuse cost with value and ownership with wealth. That timeless designer bag sitting in your closet? It's not appreciating. It's silently depreciating your financial freedom, one storage inch and regret-filled glance at a time. The Phantom ROI rule attacks this delusion. For every non-essential purchase over $100, you'll enforce a 30-30 test. 30 days of waiting plus 30 seconds of brutal honesty. Ask, if I couldn't sell, display, or tell anyone I own this, would I still buy it? This question vaporizes the status-seeking and hypothetical resale value we cling to. Suddenly, that classic watch becomes just a timepiece, not a retirement plan. Those investment kitchen tools, just clutter with a fancy label. But the real game changer is the maintenance audit. Calculate not just the item's price, but the hidden costs of insuring, storing, cleaning, and upgrading it over time. That 1,200 laptop for side hustles isn't 1,200. It's 1,200 plus 100/year for antivirus software, $50 for a sleeve, and 3 hours monthly troubleshooting updates. Now ask, is this investment paying you dividends, or are you paying it? Here's the twist. True extreme minimalism doesn't mean avoiding investments. It means becoming one. Redirect every dollar you don't spend on phantom ROIs into actual appreciating assets. Index funds, skill-building courses, or debt repayment. Unlike that heirloom furniture, these choices compound silently. 200/month wasted on investment purchases could be $37,000 in 10 years at 7% returns. But the bigger profit? Breaking the addiction to stuff as a security blanket. The Phantom ROI rule isn't about spending less. It's about respecting money enough to demand it works for you. When you stop romanticizing objects as investments, you start seeing your cash as seed capital for a life that grows richer, freer, and lighter by the day. This isn't just minimalism, it's financial alchemy. You've learned how to transform clutter into cash, fear into focus, and someday into starting today. These 5 rules aren't about living with less. They're about reclaiming what matters most: your time, your choices, and your power to build wealth on your terms. Debt doesn't own you anymore. Every empty shelf, every uncluttered screen, every dollar saved is proof. You're not just escaping the grind, you're redesigning it. Now, keep this momentum. If you're ready to go deeper, explore my Hollow Era playlist, where we dismantle mental clutter and rebuild focus, or dive into Microtopia for radical simplicity in small spaces. Hit subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss our next step in turning less into more. Your journey's just beginning. The world wants you to keep buying, but you're too busy buying back your life.